Everybody, we pulled out our first one. We lost the first game and then won the next two. Held to the host. Made our opponent say, no thank you. I will not be continuing this game with your copies of Grun the Lonely King on the battlefield. Alright, so starting game 2, we have a very, very weak opening hand. We are going to be drawing first, so we will gladly mulligan this hand. We mulligan to 6, and this hand is also very weak. We can't cast any spells. If we do draw a third land, Deathwound Thallid might come out. We're going to go ahead and keep this. We see a Spore Swarm off the top. Let's go into the bottom of the library. Opponent plays in Island. We're going to get syncopated, y'all. Alright, Swamp comes out. Our opponent's scared. We pass turn to opponent. Our opponent taps 2 for a Arcanist. Okay, so he is going to be dropping bombs on us. Green-blue. Hopefully Tachiova, the baddest bitch in town, shows her face. It's a very fun card. Plays a forest. And will he attack? He did not attack with his 1/3, so I think Syncopate is pretty safe. Safe to assume that he's going to try to Syncopate my spell, so we will try to bait out any counter spells. He is not scared of my 1/1 menace at all. He taps 4 for Spore Swarm. Okay, so Spore Swarm it is. So a lot of damage coming through. So far, my opponent's deck is highly impressive. Then a Divination to refill his hand. Well, I'm a little jealous right now. Alright, so Spore Swarm comes through. He'll be attacking with 3 1/1s. Are we necessarily scared of that? Nah, it's early in the game. We'll let 3 damage go through. Go down to 17. In his turn, we end up with a Swamp. We will gladly be casting the Deathwound Thallid here. Leave up our Stronghold Confessor as a blocker. And see what our opponent's working with. This will be the pivotal moment of the game when our opponent decides to destroy everything that we've worked so hard for. Alright, opponent's making some decisions. 7 cards in hand. He has not dropped a land yet. Hopefully he's holding on to a bunch of 6-drop spells with no lands in hand. That would be fun. Maybe he's trying to talk to us. I'm still trying to figure all this out. I don't even know how to pull up text yet. Let's find out. We're waiting. Okay, never mind. Our opponent taps 3 for Forebear's Blade. That card is good. That card's going to get really freaking annoying. He begins combat. He will not be swinging with any of his creatures. And we draw a Yavimaya Shepherd. Alright, so Forebear Blade is going to get really freaking annoying. We do need 5 mana to cast this Helm or to attach this Helm of the Host. So I don't think we're necessarily looking to get this out on the battlefield just yet. Also, it's not letting me see what it's all about. Yavimaya Shepherd, we're going to need the creatures. Draw 1 more land. We will have our Mammoth Spider. A 3/5 with Reach will be good to block all of these saplings that are going to be 4/1s with Vigilance and Trample. So our opponent did miss his land drop last turn. We did as well. Draws. He has not cast a land. So I think it's safe to assume our opponent will be attaching that Forebear's Blade to one of the creatures he controls. He does. He puts it on a sapling. So we have a 4/1 trample coming through with Vigilance. And I assume he's going to attack with that. We are gladly going to block with our Deathbloom Thallid. When his sapling dies, he will be attaching the Forebear's Blade to another creature he controls. We'll be attaching it to a sapling, so he controls another 4/1. And we rip our 5th land. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and drop the answer here. Mammoth Spider's coming out hot. 3/5 is going to be able to block his 4/1 creatures. And I will gladly let him swing in with that annoying Forebear's Blade, as long as he doesn't get anything bigger on the battlefield. So our opponent draws. He has 8 cards in hand. Still has not dropped a land. I'm sorry, opponent. Okay, so he finally hit his 4th land. What cards are good in green and blue that cost 4, aside from Spore Swarm that he has already cast this game? If he had any more in his hand, I'm sure he would have cast them with that Arcanist already. Our opponent decides not to attack. I think that's a good choice. But he will be tapping 4 mana to play a Jorah's Familiar, so 2/2 flyer. Alright. I'm not scared of your flyer. We do hit our 6th land. Slimefoot, I'm not necessarily fond of. Hopefully our opponent doesn't have any sort of artifact removal. I just want to jam this Helm of the Host out. It's going to be super sweet to throw in Yavimaya Shepherd, or even the Mammoth Spider. Being able to get that board presence and just block with the Mammoth Spiders all game is going to be super sweet. We will not be attacking with any of our team, and we will be passing the turn to our opponent now. And so our opponent is either slow rolling us, or they're really just having a rough time drawing into lands. They will be tapping 3. They will deep freeze my spider, so it no longer has reach. So we will be taking 2 regardless. I will gladly block his sapling with one of my saplings. I don't want to take 4 damage, but 3, I'll allow it. So we take a total of 5 here, putting us to 10. Forebear's Blade is going to be attached to Jorah's Familiar. And Deep Freeze is pretty rude right now. Our opponent taps 2. Sapling Migration, so another 2 saplings coming out for our opponent. And we see Demon Lord Belzenok. I think Demon Lord Belzenok is our play here. I don't think we're going to draw too many cards that put us in a rough spot. So Belzenok coming out. Our opponent poops in his pants, and we hit a Spore Crown Thallid. Puts us to 9 damage, or 9 life total. We now have a 6/6 flyer, able to block his 5/2 flyer. We will pass turn to opponent. Let's hope he doesn't have another Deep Freeze in hand. I will cry pretty hard if I see another Deep Freeze. He has a Time of Ice. That is even better. So our opponent is going to use Time of Ice. We'll be tapping our Demon Lord Belzenok. And swinging in with a 5/2, putting us to 4 life. Alright, so we go to 4. I don't think there's a whole lot that we can do here to come back from this game. Helm of the Host is probably going to be attached to Demon Lord Belzenlock, trying to let us draw into some sort of answer. Time of Ice is obviously just going to tap Demon Lord Belzenlock next turn, and he will swing in with his flying to win the game. I do not have any way to get rid of that Time of Ice, which feels really bad. My attacks are not going to do anything super insane. Helm of the Host, we will attach Helm of the Host to Demon Lord Belzenlock. Why not? Let's see what we can get off of Demon Lord Belzenlock's copy. So we begin combat. Copy of Demon Lord Belzenlock comes out into play. And we draw a total of 3 cards off of Demon Lord Belzenlock, putting us to 1 life. Alright, so we will be conceding this game. It's going to be another game where we need to come back from 1 loss. Okay, so pretty easy here. Gaia's Protector's coming out. We should have caught that earlier. We're going to put in Pierce the Sky against any of his flyers. And I think it's safe to say we're good there. Sphere Abomination seems sweet. Thorn Elemental is a little bit better against all of his little 1/1s. We're good with that. We have 1 piece of In the Sky removal that was very much needed that last game. Alright, so we lose. We'll decide to play first here. And we're stuck with another 2-land hand, a Stronghold Confessor, and we need to draw at least 1 more land to get into. We're going to mulligan this into another 2-land hand. I don't think we can mulligan again. We'll keep that 3rd land on top and go right into the game. So we play our land for turn. Pass to opponent. Our opponent's making a very emotional decision with his cards right now. Not very sure what's going on. Okay, so he did hit his land. But maybe for a moment he kept a no-land hand. Swamp and pass. It is Sulfur Falls, okay. So he is playing red in his deck as well. We see a Song of Freyalise. We will go ahead and tap out our 3 mana to play our Deathbloom Thallid. Song of Freyalise this early in the game isn't necessarily a good thing. Are in the Nurturer, so a 1/1 that taps for green mana. So we might need to do something about that. I did not see any elves in the last game that we had to play. Alright, so we have a total of 3 mana. Hopefully we're not stuck on the 3. We're going to go ahead and just cast Slimefoot pre-combat. Let our opponent know that we got some good in this deck. And we will gladly attack in with our Deathbloom Thallid. Push some sort of damage through because we did not get a single point of damage in last game. Very much trying to stabilize, which did not happen at all. So our opponent's not stuck on 3 lands this turn. Actually, they have a total of 5. And the green could be a sign that they were they're playing that elemental that spams out saplings. I'm happy that it doesn't cost 5 to cast. They play a 4/4 Baloth Gorger. Pretty good against me right now. They do not decide to attack. We draw into our 4th land. So Song of Rayleigh's here. If we cast that, we would have a total of 4 lands, regardless with the 2 creatures that we'd be attacking in with, or tapping for that. It's not going to do us any good. Helm of the Host. I think that is going to be our play. We will not be attacking with any of the creatures we have this turn. We don't want Baloth Gorger to come in and just rip us apart if he decides not to block, which obviously he's going to block. He plays his 5th land, total of 6 mana available. He's not playing a whole lot. He's not doing a whole lot. He's making some choices here. Alright, our opponent decides to tap 3. Is it what I think it is? Yes, it is. Deep Freeze on our Slimefoot. Okay, so that takes away a lot of the synergy in this deck. I'm not so sad to tap out Slimefoot now. When it begins combat, he will be attacking with that Baloth Gorger. Baloth Gorger will be blocked by the Deathbloom Thallid. So we will get our Sapling creature token. And our opponent taps 3 more mana to play a Llanowar Envoy. So 3/2 to tap. Or add any mana of 1 color to your mana pool for a green and a colorless. Alright, so we hit Spore Crown Thallid. This isn't anything too crazy for us. I wish we would have seen a little bit more. We're going to go ahead and tap to cast Song of Rayleigh's. So creatures we control will be able to tap for any color of mana. Alright. It sticks. We will be using this ability to tap for a green with our 1/1 Sapling, and a black to cast Spore Crown Thallid. It will let Slimefoot have the buff, and our Sapling as well. Sadly, Helm of the Host is not able to be attached to any of our creatures at the moment. Next turn, we will be able to attach it to Slimefoot, hopefully take it away, and also attach it to that Spore Crown Thallid. Just spam out so we have huge Saplings, unless they get removed. Alright, our opponent is tapping for a bit of mana here. Time of Ice again. I think Time of Ice is going to win them a game, win them their 2nd game again. This card is obviously insane. I'm not able to untap my creature, and then it just gets returned back to my hand. So he's targeting Slimefoot. We're going to tap to add green mana to my mana pool before Slimefoot is tapped. When it decides to attack, he will be coming in with the Envoy and the Baloth Gorger. I want to say it's okay to block, but we will not be blocking any of these creatures. We really need the Helm of the Host to come to our aid here and spam out copies. So we will be taking a total of 9 damage, putting us down to 11. And we're just really grasping on to the little hope that our opponent does not have anything that's going to just blow us out of the game next turn. So we have our 5 mana. We're we're obviously going to go ahead and attach Helm of the Host to our Slimefoot the Stowaway. I did this once in a paper draft. I'm pretty sure Slimefoot comes out as a copy of himself. Deep Freeze will not be the enchantment on him. So yes, we do have a normal Slimefoot for a 3/4. And essentially we have 2 mana available with the creatures. 3 mana available with Slimefoot on board. Alright, so Time of Ice comes through. Our opponent will be targeting one of our creatures. It will be that Slimefoot. And we will gladly... I guess I'm not allowed... Oh yeah, Slimefoot was not part of the ability, so he is not going to be able to be tapped for mana. It's a little sad. Saproling is definitely going to be used as a blocker here. Our opponent still has 2 cards. He played a land for turn. He will be attacking with Team. Saproling will be blocking Marin the Nurture. Let's try to get him off that 3rd green source in case he needs that. And Spore Crown Thallid will be blocking here. Sure. We'll take 4 damage down to 7. And our opponent will be passing turn. Alright, I feel a lot better about this. Song of Freyalise is going to kick off. Obviously, our creatures, they're not doing a whole lot for us right now. It's a little sad, but we'll allow it. Mammoth Spider's coming out. As long as he doesn't have any sort of removal for this, we should be good. Is he going to syncopate it? Alright, well there's that syncopate we were talking about earlier in the draft. That's super insane and super freaking annoying. So I don't have the 1 mana to pay for syncopate. Opponent has 1 card left in hand. Alright, we go to pass turn. Opponent plays Spore Swarm. Into their turn, Time of Ice goes off. So we have our 1 copy of Slimefoot to try to block our opponent and take the game here. So he attacks in. This is brutal, y'all. I'm going to block one of the Saprolings. Take a total of 6 down to 2. And our opponent will close out the game. Play Jor's Familiar for his 2/2 flyer. Alright, so we do have our removal for that, so I feel pretty good. We're stuck at 6 mana, so let's go ahead and jam the removal out. Jam our 2nd copy of Slimefoot out. And our opponent is top decking now. So if he has anything that can deal 2 damage to us off the top, we lose the game pretty quickly. Opponent attacks with Team. So our copy of Slimefoot is going to block the Baloth Gorger. And our normal Slimefoot is going to block the Saproling. That puts us to 1 life. Opponent passes turn, Grow from the Ashes. That's not good right now. We're not looking for a Grow from the Ashes. But we will gladly attach Helm of the Host to our Slimefoot. As long as we can use one of its abilities before we lose the game, getting our Saprolings to die and gaining bits of life is going to be super sweet for us here. Hopefully that's the case and our opponent doesn't just time of ice us for 2, or the second time of ice, which would be annoyingly insane right now. We also have 12 minutes to try to close out the next 2 games. So our opponent moves to the attack step. Will he decide to attack into us? That is the question. Opponent is making some decisions here. He will be attacking into us. So we move to block. Token will be blocking the Ballast Gorger. The normal copy will be blocking the Sapling token. And let's hope our opponent doesn't have any tricks. So we go to the main phase. Our opponent ends turn. And we draw another land. We will begin combat, making a copy of our Slimefoot. We have a total of 4 lands available to us, so we can only activate this ability once. We'll go to the main step and gladly cast this Grow from the Ashes with its kicker, letting us dig out 2 more lands so we can create a copy of a Sapling there. Our opponent taps 5 mana to flash out the Pearl Trident at the end of my turn. No flying on that, so we're happy. Our opponent plays a land for turn. Alright, at the beginning of combat, we will pay 4 to get a 1/1 Sapling creature token. Will our opponent decide to attack, is the question. The chump block on the Sapling creature token is going to be very good for us here. And then using that copy of Slimefoot to just throw in front of the Ballast Gorger over and over again is going to be super good for us here. So our opponent attacks with both creatures. Blocks are going to be pretty much the same across the board. Sapling in front of that. As long as he doesn't have any sort of combat trick, we should be good. We'll start closing out the game pretty quick here with the life gain and the little bits of pinging. Opponent ends turn. We get a Stronghold Confessor off the top. Is it safe to play that? So I would rather build 2 of the Saplings, especially with the copy of Slimefoot coming out on the battlefield, rather than casting my Thorn Elemental here, especially if my opponent's just going to counter the spell with the 1 spell he has in his hand. So we will end turn. Opponent plays Divination. He is drawing into Answers. Alright, our opponent will begin combat. Will he decide to attack? I think attacking for him here is really bad. Regardless, I think it's safe to say that we're doing pretty well. Alright, so he'll be drawing a lot more cards now. Let's go ahead and get some creature tokens out. Now every Sapling that dies, as long as he doesn't remove my Slimefoot, is going to drain him for 3. And alright, y'all. I think this is the point in the game where we win. So main phase, we're going to use this ability to sacrifice one of my Saplings. 3 Slimefoot triggers are going to go off. Our opponent will drain for 3. We'll go up to 6. And we will pass turn to opponent. Opponent draws. 2 cards left in hand. Fight with Fire would be really good right now. He will be playing his land. Goes up to 12. So 10 mana on board. I think if he had his Fight with Fire, he probably wouldn't have played another land. Wasn't necessary. And I think our opponent is realizing that once they got us down to 1 life and we came back, Home of the Host is probably one of the better cards in the set when it comes to the limited environment. Regardless of all the enchantment and artifact removal that there is in this set, Helm of the Host is definitely a pack one, pick one. Even with creatures such as Slimefoot, just a 2/3, I mean, disregard the ability entirely. You know, Helm of the Host is doing us a lot of work right now. I wish I could pull up the chat. Here it is. I remember how to do it. So our opponent's not pissed. He's not texting us, letting us know he's going to make us sit here for 12 minutes. All right, our opponent attacks with team, 2 cards in hand. We're obviously going to be blocking some of that. So block going here. We'll be blocking as... It's very bad blocking. No, we do need to block some of it. We'll block as such. We're not really scared of our creatures dying right now. Sorry, I did that wrong. We'll block as such. We're not scared of our creatures dying at the moment. We will be using this ability to sacrifice our Sapperling, draining our opponent for 3, gaining us 3 life before any sort of damage goes through. The block is still declared. There's no trample to come through to us. I did forget I had the 4 mana up that was allowing us to build another 1/1 Sapperling creature token that we could have blocked with. The 5, maybe Thallid Omnivore should have blocked the Baloth Gorger. I make mistakes. We all make mistakes. Regardless, I think I'm doing pretty well in this match. So Omnivore is going to deal 5 to the Trident. Sentinel of... Alright, our opponent scoops. Cool. So going on to game 3. Let's hope we don't get stuck on a bunch of 3-drop spells. That was a really fun game. I'm happy that we were able to come back from it. There we go. On to game 3. Obviously, our opponent decides to play first. And we see some good stuff. So we have our 3rd land guaranteed. We got some good fungus and Sapperling synergy going on. And then the Blood Tulla Candle. We're going to go ahead and keep this hand. Opponent opens with a mountain and passes turn. We see Dark Bargain off the top. So we'll cast Blood Tulla Candle just to get it out. Late in the game, our opponent will probably just syncopate it, because why the hell not? Our opponent plays a forest, and they end their turn. We see Arbor Armament. We'll play our 2nd forest. Still can't play any spells in our hand. Sadly, opponent plays a mountain and ends his turn. So I'm happy to see that there's no blue mana there. We're able to get our Yavimaya Shepherd online, giving us a total of 2 bodies on the board. Put a little bit of pressure on our opponent here. Opponent taps out, plays Marin the Nurturer, so they got a 1/1 creature online. They did not hit their land drop. We hit our 4th land drop. We will gladly be casting our Deathbloom Thallid after we swing in. Obviously, our opponent is not going to block this. They definitely want the mana ability off of Morrowind. We will be playing Deathbloom Thallid, leaving up a green mana for Arbor Armament, just in case they decide to get a little lame here. Cast a couple elf spells. throw Marin at us. Our opponent did not jam a land, so they might be stuck on their 3 lands and their Marin right now, which feels really good. Losing game 1. Very pessimistic on game 2 when I was down to 1 life, but I was able to come out of that game. In this game 3 here, I think our opponent is on tilt. They don't have any blue mana available to them. And I have quite a board state at the moment. Oh, spoke too soon. So our opponent goes ahead and casts his island. He will be tapping 3 mana to play a Cinderwind. Alright, so it's really good we kept that green mana up. Cinderwind will be coming through to attack. We're going to go ahead and tap our forest, Arbor Armament, targeting our Deathbloom Thallid. And we will gladly block with our Deathbloom Thallid. Even if Thallid dies here, we get our 1/1. Thallid does not die. Our opponent's crying. Our opponent is crying. Alright, so 4 mana up. I want to play Dark Bargain so we could draw into answers. I also want our 5th land. Grow from the Ashes is a lot better if you kick it in, getting 2 lands off of it. So we'll go ahead, we'll move to combat, and we will just swing team for a total of 7 damage at our opponent's head. Our opponent is probably not going to block. If they do, then I think that's a sign that they're a little bit desperate here. They do not. Second main, we'll go ahead and pass to opponent. We want to cast Dark Bargain at the end of their turn so we could draw into maybe a 5th land. Something good. I mean, we're going to get 2 of the 3 cards that we see off of it. We'll lose 2 life going down to 18, which is not scary to us at all. Alright, our opponent is tapping. Our opponent is not tapping. What is our opponent doing? They haven't played a land before they tapped, so maybe they didn't hit their land drop again. I'm very happy that we decided to play that Arbor Armament in our main board. Adelies would have been a little out of control. None of the creatures on our board would have been able to block it. We had it at the perfect time there. So our opponent plays Divination. They draw into 2 cards. They do see a Sulfur Falls. They will tap 3 to fight with fire. They're going to kill our Deathbloom Thallid. Little do they know, I really don't care. That's perfectly fine. We'll get a Sapperling off of it. We still have board presence, just not as strong. So we go to the end step. We're going to cast Dark Bargain here. Try to draw into some answers of our own. So we see a Sporecorn Thallid. That's obviously going to hand. We'll also take our 5th land. And move into our turn, we see a Thallid Omnivore. Alright, so this hand just got really sweet. Maybe Grow from the Ashes. We don't necessarily need to cast for 5. But we're going to do it. We're going to get the 2 lands to come in untapped. And we'll be able to cast our Sporecrone Thallid. So we will make sure that we grab a green mana source and a swamp. We will then tap to cast Sporecrone. I cannot say this name. The Thallid. Alright, so we move to attacks. I now have 7 more damage coming through, putting our opponent to 3. I think it's safe to say that we close this game out. He doesn't have any way to block any of that. So unless he draws straight fire next turn and is able to get rid of our entire board, then he lost the game. Alright, opponent plays Island. We will be tapping for 3. He is going to Deep Freeze my crew. So I only have 4 damage on board. He will then tap 4 to play Baloth Gorger. So Baloth Gorger will block the Shepherd. Shepherd is going to die, and he takes 2 down to 1. We were in this position. If we draw, we don't need a 6 land. Okay, so we won the game. I made a mistake. Latala Candle is going to kill the Gorger here, and we will swing in for the win. Our opponent is realizing the cruel reality of the candle. Yes, he is. All right, so our opponent concedes another game where we came back from our first game loss and won the next 2. Killing Flyers is good, and Black-Green is also good. See y'all in game 3.